What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and I'm actually here at home filming for a change, so I'm not in the office. I'm just relaxing. Another development that I wanted to bring up is I'm actually back on caffeine, which, everyone used to complain like, oh my God, he's got to cut back on the caffeine. Why does he scream on camera all the time? He doesn't even have a coherent thought. He needs to stop drinking coffee. Well, I'm not overdoing it. This is a Monster Revive. Whatever, this is all I'm going to have today, I promise. I'm limiting myself. No more crazy caffeine overdoses. It is 12:12 p.m. Let's get down to business. All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a rant. I got a couple messages after I released that Hodinky episode. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to link it in the corner. I'll link it in the description below. But essentially, I was complaining about, Hodinky and their just really snobby attitudes. I've made a couple Hodinky episodes recently, but people have been asking me how I deal with snobs and snobbery in the watch world. And I have a few tips, but the first tip is that you don't. You don't deal with it. You just ignore it. That's what I do. I mean, if I listened to every person who spoke down on me for wearing micro brands or for wearing G-Shocks or for wearing non-5-figure watches, I'd hate this hobby. But I just ignore it because I don't really care what they think about my watches. So the first tip is you don't care. Don't try to deal with snobs, just ignore it. The second tip is that you should buy what you like. I've said this in almost every episode since I started here on YouTube. Buy what you like. Oh, you think that this really obscure dive watch looks cool? Like me, who's going after that Cartier diver that everyone seems to hate? Cool, buy it. Oh, you like this Invicta that, like, the Time Teller makes fun of? Well, who cares? He has his own opinion, but I really like it, so I'm gonna buy it. You should get what you like. We're going to touch upon this a little bit more later in the episode. The third tip is that you need to understand everyone's entitled to their own opinion, including yourself. So that is to say that if someone thinks your watch is ugly, cool, that's their opinion, fine. But I really like it for this reason. And you don't even need to give anyone those reasons, because guess what? It's your own opinion, and this is a hobby that is filled with inanimate objects that don't really affect the world in any significant way. So you don't need to, defend your watch collection or your watch purchase to anyone. If you hear me talking about a watch in a good light or in a little bit of a negative light, that's perfectly fine. I'm one idiot on the internet that you don't even know personally. So if I'm trashing your watch, don't worry about it, dude. That's just my opinion, and it doesn't matter. And you might hear me defending certain watches, but guess what? This is my job, to complain on the internet and to talk about watches, good and bad. This is how I make my living, but you don't need to do that in your personal life. You don't need to defend your purchases or your, watches to anyone except for maybe your wife. She'll get upset regardless of what watch it is because she won't understand, and she'll say, why are you spending money? I didn't even get a wedding ring yet. Whatever. Speaking of your significant other, the final point that I want to make is you don't need to buy a watch to impress them or anyone else. Like anyone else in the world. You don't need to buy a watch to impress me. You don't need to buy a watch to impress your spouse, your girlfriend. You definitely don't want to buy a watch to try and get the affection of the opposite sex, because I'm going to tell you this right now. Girls don't care about your wristwatch. They just don't. Comment in the comment section below. Do you want my girl, Sammy, to make an episode talking about wristwatches? Because I'd love actually to hear her opinion. I think it might be valuable for you guys to hear her opinion on wristwatches. But the truth is, I don't think she got with me because of my Seiko tuna on my wrist. I don't think that that's like what was the leveraging point for her. So this is kind of touching upon buying what you like once again, but I really want to reinforce that, you don't need to impress anyone. You're probably not really going to impress anyone except for your watch fam here on YouTube or Instagram. Like other watch enthusiasts, might be like, whoa, that was a really cool pickup. Oh, I really like that, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, like, outside of just like fellow watch addicts, you're not going to impress anyone, and you shouldn't even purchase a watch with the intent of impressing those fellow watch addicts. We should just all have fun. We should all be fine with spreading our opinions, good and bad, because I think that's what makes this hobby very interesting. But at the end of the day, understand that these are all just opinions, and it's your watch collection, and you should be buying what you like, what you enjoy what you enjoy collecting, and what you enjoy wearing. And again, I don't really collect pieces that I don't enjoy wearing. So there's a couple watches in my collection, like for instance, my great-grandfather's watch that I don't wear all that often. It's a very old Elgin, probably the oldest watch I own, and it has been serviced and repaired, but it is so old and fragile that I often just, keep it in storage. But other than that, if I'm going to buy a watch new or old, it's because I really do want to wear it, and it's because I want to wear it. It's not because I want to impress anyone else on the internet or in person, in my personal life, or in my family. It's just, these are my watches, they're my things, and I gotta enjoy them. So I urge you to do the same, and hopefully this answered that question. How do I deal with snobbery? I don't. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman. Let time tell, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.